Torment Tides of Numenera. Been waiting on this game for a while, so should be a good time. Let's hop right into it. Guess I'll be male.
Your mind wakes in darkness. Aching cold sets into an unfamiliar body. A distant howling surrounds you, louder with each passing second. Insistent and invisible hands slap and tear at the membrane that protects you. Your first emotion is an involuntary and formless panic. You feel you have forgotten something important. As if it once meant the world to you, but the details slip away as you grasp at them. You force your eyes open. The body is... wait, you are wearing a form-fitting suit of some dark material. You recall that you were wearing something much more elaborate a short time ago. You have smooth, light brown skin, 5 fingers on each hand, 5 toes on each foot. Good muscles, strong but not bulky, and slim hips. Your palms are soft, as if they have not done much labor, but scars and burns on the hands and wrists suggest that you haven't always been careful. Why can't you remember this? Without warning, the cocoon that surrounds you shreds and tears away. You are falling. Above you, a small moon is slowly collapsing in on itself. The world is many kilometers below you.
1 second. Back. Whoa, it's loud.
Instinctively, you spread your arms and legs, and they respond sluggishly. You stop tumbling head over heels. Though you are still spinning laterally, that motion has calmed as well, and you have space to assess your situation, and perhaps to understand the predicament and the body in which you find yourself. Below you, you see a large landmass. A massive ocean dominates the rest of the visible globe, dotted here and there with island chains. Small moons, unusual structures, and strange machines rush past you in glittering profusion as you plummet toward the ground. Now you see that this appears to be a huge megacontinent, the only land of any size on this side of the world at least. Great inland seas and lakes dot the land, and curiously, regular mountain ranges march up and down and across. You are falling toward what looks to be a great bay, a sprawling city perched on its shore just to the north. Further to the north and east, you see a broad plain scattered with curious structures, visible even from this height. The northeastern portion of this land looks to be a desert, a strange blue dot like an eye in its exact center. It seems to hold a city in its watery grasp. To its west is a ring of huge mountains, surmounted by enormous carved peaks spewing magma into a central catch basin. What concerns you most right now is the bay below you. It's coming at you quickly.
Give up and dive? Yeah, right, I kind
As the
of want to see
water
that.
rushes at you, horrifyingly quickly, you see a pair of figures standing near a small glassy dome. You're headed straight for it. One of them looks up, points at you, and you feel your speed slow tremendously. But you are still traveling too fast, and both the figures leap aside as you crash into the crystalline structure with a profound and horrific crunch, pain radiating through every part of your body. And then, darkness.
Alright, this is fairly creepy. Alright, well, it seems fairly obvious that I'm supposed to move it. Tutorial effort. You've encountered your first task. You have 3 stat pools, might, speed, and intellect, that you can spend to increase your chances of success. This is called using efforts. Okay. To more easily move the bowl in front of you, use the left mouse click to spend might for a higher level of effort. Don't worry if you fail this task. In Torment, failure often results in interesting outcomes. Okay, let's only use one and see if we fail. Ah, it was a success. You carefully take hold of the bowl, avoiding the teeth on the serrated rim. With a deep breath, you move it over the glowing pool of fallen light. Drop by drop, the bowl fills, ripples spreading over the blurred outline of your reflection. A pale blue luminescence stretches into the corners of the room. A clear radiance spills across the segmented floor, washing away the nearest shadows and pouring into your mind, melting the ragged edges of your fragmented thoughts. You are not whole, not yet, but you have begun to heal from the damage done in your long fall. A voice calls out from somewhere high above, beyond the reaches of the spreading light. Hello? Are you still alive down there? We're up here. Soon. This seems very high-tech. It's not like there wasn't technology in the old Planescape, but it was somewhat more, what do you call it? Apocalyptic. As soon as you touch the orb, a memory floods your mind. You stand in front of a rusted door. The air is humid and dank. You've had a moment's respite from this waterlogged hell. A bubble of stale air, your resting point. You've breathed water before, and you've lived decades beneath the waves. But this body's an air breather, and the constant pressure has been crushing you ever so subtly. Worse, your companion's mind seems to be wandering from the task at hand. He's a genius with machines, as you well know, but now he seems distracted. The device in his hands is covered in knobs, wires, and antennas. He believes he can get the two of you through the corroded door, but he's merely staring at it. Perhaps he's lost faith in his invention, but that is hardly your concern. This mission cannot be delayed. It must proceed. Deceive him by telling him what you've heard sounds of pursuit. Threaten him until he returns to the task at hand. This is taking too long. Cast a spell. An esotery to fix the device yourself. So basically, again, strong, cunning, intelligence. Those might, intellect, and speed, right? So this probably corresponds to speed, this is probably might, and then intelligence. Let's go with the speed one. Your words echo clearly, and he looks up, surprised as you cut through his indecisive daze. He grimaces and says, "Alright, we'll be through the door before they catch up." His fingers make minute adjustments to the knobs and blinking levers of the device, and stale air of your bubble freshens as the door swings open. A dark hallway lies beyond, a passage that links water-bordered cells and the aquatic viewing areas. What you seek lies there. Moments later, you're underwater again, your hands closing around a strange yet familiar artifact. You need it to complete something. It hovers above a pedestal, rotating in the dark water. An electric current runs through your fingers as your hand crosses the vertical plane of the pedestal, and an iridescent field coalesces so fast that the wave of pressure dazes you for a moment. The rising pulse of sonar alarm ripples through the water. The guards won't be far behind. One of the ciphers in your belt. Alright, let's see what I have in my belt. You run urgent fingers over the devices fastened to your waist, a fog rising in your mind. A few can be used against the guards, but will also turn your skin to synthesteel, or the surrounding water to boiling wax. Hardly ideal. Finally, you find a small silver sphere. Setting the sphere in place, you kick desperately for the safety of a nearby alcove. The sphere whirls and unfolds in a spiraling vortex. The sphere at its center speaks a few polite words in an ancient language, then begins draining the surrounding water into itself with alarming speed. The approaching guards shout, then scream as they too are sucked into the whirlpool and ripped to pieces. You allow yourself a fleeting smile, but are all too aware that the alarms are going off in the distance. The memory begins to fade as if you were being drawn backwards through a tunnel, and you hear more pylons rising from the pit. Something is wrong. The events within the orb have settled into that gap in your mind, but the edges of it are rough, as though the memory itself is not truly yours. There's something else, a gust of sour air pulling at you, like a predator inhaling the scent of its prey at the far end of a dark, whispering field. So that's gonna be another memory then, I guess. One second as I take something to drink here. There we go. You stand beside a woman on a verdant crag. Beneath the two of you is a broad plateau towering above the overgrowth far below. Strange machines have been built into the cliffside, presumably for reconnaissance or defense. A metallic disc gleams from the center of the plateau. Your self-aware humanoid machines drill into the base of the cliffs below. If you were looking for a sanctuary, and you were, desperately, this seems like the right place. I don't know about this, the woman says, her voice flat, neutral. Her face is turned away from you. What makes this place any more secure than the other ones we've found? Draw her attention to the hidden details that your more experienced eye can clearly see. Use your charm to persuade her of the merits of the site, and to remind her of the time constraints. Convince her with the wisdom of your superior intellect. Perception, cunning, intellect, yeah. Let's go with charm. A cloud passes over the sun as you engage her in a spirited, friendly debate, pointing out the footprint of a prior world civilization whose power remains untapped. After a few minutes, she laughs, raising her hands in mock surrender. Stop, stop. Your servitors are down there. You've already chosen this as the site, haven't you? She waits for your affirmation and says, "All right, I'm convinced." The two of you sketch your plans for the sanctuary, drawing schematics and architectural diagrams. Then you descend onto the plateau to examine the open ground. The woman suggests having one of the servitors build a shelter for your time here. You try to draw one of the constructs away from its task, but it doesn't respond to your voice. When you lay a hand on its shoulder to reinforce your command, it whirls and strikes you across the face with inhuman speed. It turns back to its task, ignoring you. Your companion helps you rise, laughter in her eyes. It seems your construct has other ideas. What's the matter with it? Use the Numenera integrated into the construct's body to overwhelm the behavior malfunction. Examine the constructs for mechanical faults. Look for a deeper solution. Perhaps it's an effect of the metallic disc itself. Oh hey, thanks Leo. That's good to know. let's examine this machine. Everything resolves into sharp focus, and you see that the servitor's rear actuators are corrupted. You dig into the construct's back. It seems not to mind as long as you don't interfere with its task. Deftly, you reset the actuators and see energy spark into disused portions of the construct's brain. The construct resumes its work, and this time it listens when you speak to it. Acknowledged, it obediently trundles to the site of your new shelter. The image freezes, then fades, and you feel the memory filling the gap in your mind, block by jagged block. You stagger, clutching your head, reclaiming your memories hurts. And once more, there's something else. Hairs lift one by one on the back of your neck. Something beyond this room can sense what you are doing, and is hunting you. Kind of hard to pinpoint exactly what kind of technology is going to be in this universe. It's going to be steampunk. It feels a little bit more advanced than typical steampunk, so I'm excited about it. A vision of a city springs up around you. Your city, in flames and under attack. Her defenders have fought and died all day, and still the attackers keep coming. They fight as if your destruction were demanded of them. They care nothing for mercy, surrender, or plunder. What they want is blood. But you have brought a keen-eyed companion to the top of the tower. She has seen the way to stop the invaders. You need to get her to safety, and you need to rally your defenders. But even as you turn toward the door of the tower, two of the attackers descend from a hovering machine. You don't have the time to strike at them before they land. One is brutishly large, his weapon a vibrating axe. The other is slim, sheathed in glassy armor, and holding a hilt with a sizzling invisible blade. Your companion backs away. She's too young to help. Your enemies advance single file, confined by the parapet. Trade blows with a giant. You can handle it, for at least a strike or two. Duck under the giant's swing and attack before you can strike. Fight defensively and figure out who presents the greater threat. I'm gonna go with what I consider the speed option again. You roll under the blurring arc of his axe. He's overconfident, testing you without committing to the attack. Yes, he's fast, but not as fast as you are. And when he raises the great axe above his head to finish you, you're able to bury your blade under his breastplate. The blade emerges from the back of his neck, and his life's blood washes over your hands. He falls, taking your weapon with him, and his companion attacks. Her invisible blade is far more lethal than the giant's axe. You duck as she thrusts at you, and the wall behind you hisses, destroyed. Her return swing cuts through your armor, ruining your breastplate. She doesn't have to be skilled with a weapon like this. She just has to make contact. You time your attack just as she pulls it back for another strike. You barrel into her, driving her over the wall, and she drops screaming to the ground 50 meters below. The immediate threat ended. You focus on finding a way back to your allies. You open the tower door and rush down the stairs. The door at the base of the stairs is slightly cracked, opening just a bit into the hall, and you hear more of the enemy soldiers beyond. Hurl yourself against the door and knock them to the ground. Crack the door open and sneak past them. Charge through them, counting on your defenses to protect you. Now let's be sneaky here. You press yourself against the gleaming door, easing it open, and your breath catches in your throat as it squeaks quietly, but the sound like a bell in your memory. You pause, but the soldiers in the hall continue to talk. You push again, squeeze yourself through the narrow opening, and creep down the blood-stained hall. The memory begins to fade, and you find yourself back in your own body. Your temples throb with the racing force of your heartbeat, and the reclaimed memories blaze within you like a bonfire on a mountain peak, visible to every predator for kilometers around. You don't often see these people use kilometers. They usually just go for miles, or like the Imperial system. Whatever. A tremor rocks the floor beneath you, as though a massive fist has struck the room itself. Swaying on your feet, you see frantic movement within the borders of a mirror at the edge of the room. The border of this mirror is lavishly decorated with dizzying number of interlocked symbols, daggers, masks, paintbrushes, amulets, and more. But that's nothing compared to what you see in the glass. You see a vast crowd of people, exact doppelgangers of you, shoving, arguing with, and fighting each other. Most are drab imitations of you, but a precious few are vivid and pull at your attention. Each of them bears an intricate pentagonal, yeah, I said that right. Pentagonal tattoo on their head. I have never read that word before. Pentagonal. Pentagonal? Pentagonal must be the correct way to say it. In their eyes, their actions, you see the memories you discovered within the orbs, and the choices you made, shining like distant stars. Your hand twitches at your side, and though some of the bright doppelgangers ignore you, an even smaller number immediately turn to you, waiting for you to choose them and learn what you might become. A rumble shakes the room, and slow vibration spreads from the darkness below, rippling towards the ceiling. Point at the doppelganger with the charming smile. Point at the doppelganger with the clever eyes. Tinkering with the mechanical device, moving stealthily through the crowd. Alright, so we come a bit... I've been choosing charm and stealth and speed. I forgot this. So now we can do either charm or speed if we want to continue. Let's go with stealth. I usually prefer playing stealthy characters. You blink and the doppelganger is gone. Or so you think at first, for you can hear, just for a second, a low chuckle somewhere behind you. When you finally blink, it stands before you once more, behind the glass where it belongs, and waiting for your decision. Yes, that is who I am. I want to consider the other choices. So this is a choice. I am choosing what kind of character I want to play here. But I'm reasonably confident that that is what I want to do. The remaining doppelgangers scatter for the edges of the mirror and vanish. Your chosen identity steps forward. Its appearance changes as it steps out of the rippling glass. Its face reflects confidence and cleverness. Shadows of weapons flicker in and out of its hand, and a few devices shimmer on its belt. You get the feeling you, would be comfortable in a variety of situations. The word Jack sounds in your mind. Gained descriptor, stealthy. Okay. Your doppelganger continues walking, stepping into you, filling you, making you whole. Your decision rings out into the cavernous room, awakening and unlocking vast mechanisms behind the walls. Suddenly, a grotesque noise rings through your shared worlds, like a bell if bells could rot. Something is coming. The mirror fades, leaving a dark open doorway. You take a deep breath and step through. Alright, made it to character creation. Your choices in the memories and mirror have begun to build your character, but now you have the opportunity to decide on a number of details. First, you can decide to change your type. Type defines the abilities, skills you'll be able to acquire as you advance. Alright. Stat pools. There's nothing I can do with the stat pools, I think. Abilities. Change character type. Jack. Okay, so Jack is the one I picked. Jacks are intrepid explorers and adventurers. They are jack of all trades, hence the name. Although the word also harkens back to fables involving a wildly resourceful hero who always seemed to be named Jack. Jacks are at their best when they combine weapons, armor, esoteries, ciphers, and clever tongue. They are treasure hunters, grifters, skalds, rogues, and experts in a variety of fields. Glaive. Glaives are the elite warriors of the Ninth World. Ninth. Using weapons and armor to fight their enemies. Scouts, guardians, warlords, and soldiers could be glaives. Most glaives either have a high might and use the heaviest armor and weapons available, or a high speed and stick with light or ranged weapons and light or medium armor. That might be fun. I could also play that. Let's check out the Nano. Nanos are sometimes called mages, wizards, sorcerers, or witches by the people of the Ninth World. Whatever they're called, Nanos masters the mysteries of the past to the degree that they seem to perform miracles using esoteries, spell-like invocations that combine gestures, command words, and psychic disciplines. They tap into nanospirits and numerous particles that suffuse the landscape to alter reality or learn things that they couldn't otherwise know. Your auto-hosting worked. That's great, Leo. And thank you while I'm at it. But yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with Jack. I think that's what I'm gonna want to play. Nano seems kind of complicated. Glaive seems kind of straightforward. So let's stick with this. Features: 4 points to distribute to any pool, plus 3 health at tier 1, plus 6 health at each later tier. Gains 2 abilities at tier 1. I'm not really sure how this works. Flex skill. I can click this. Choose 1 exploration, lore, or conversation skill, plus 1 training level in that skill while active. Consumes active until next sleep. 1 of 1 uses per day remaining. Alright. We can go to next. Stat pools are the resources that you use to apply effort or activate abilities. You can distribute points as you see fit. Glaives tend to favor might and or speed, while Nanos favor intellect. Jacks usually benefit from a balanced set of points. Alright. Can I... Oh yeah, here. 4 points remain. So I think I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna do it fairly balanced. Just to keep my options open. In a first run through, that's usually pretty good. So I'm gonna take 1 in each and then 1 more in speed. Just because that's how I usually play in these games. Abilities unlocked by your type can be active actions, such as attacks or spell-like esoteries, or unique passive effects. Yes. Gain, okay. Trained without armor. Gain plus 10 evasion, plus 10 willpower when wearing no armor or light armor. Practice in armor. Gain 3 speed armor cost reduction, 3 might armor cost reduction. Reduces the penalty to esoteric attacks incurred in. Hard to say whether this be... I mean, I don't really know the inventory system or the items in this game, so hard to say which one of these would be better. Sucker Punch. Attack that deals weapon damage plus 3. If they're dazed for 1 round. Okay. Hedge magic. Automatically succeed on the next quick fingers or smashing task. Choose a damage type and then make a weapon attack. Deal weapon damage of the chosen type along with bonus effects based on the type. I'm gonna definitely take Infused Weapon. That seems... choosing what type of damage you do can usually be very good in these kinds of games. I'm basing that on my experience in more like Icewind Dale and Baldur's Gate, but you never know. And then I don't think I'm gonna be wearing heavy armor or anything, so let's do it trained without armor. Let me see what comes from this. Most skills increase your chance of success on a specific kind of actions and tasks, but some give other passive bonuses. Each skill starts at the novice level and can be increased to trained and specialized, granting greater bonuses at each level. Descriptors often leave some skills at the inability level, meaning they inflict penalties. When upgraded, these return to novice level. Okay. Allows the character to act earlier in the turn in order to crisis. Yeah, I actually... Can I not increase that? Oh no, yeah, okay, I do it here. I only had one? There's a lot of things to go through here, but I'm not gonna go through all that now. Instead, I'm gonna take initiative because I know what that does, and I'm fairly certain it's always gonna be useful in this system. Only glaives receive training in weapon skills. Although you chose your descriptor from among the many doppelgangers in the mirror, you now have the chance to view the specific bonuses and penalties it grants. You can also examine the effects of other descriptors and choose a new one if you wish. Alright. Okay. Sneak. You're sneaky and slippery both in actions and words. You gain advantage for stealth rather than speed. Alright. +1 stealth. Running skill. I like these things. Deception, stealth, light weapons. I like all of these. Let's stick with what we got through the intro though, to make that actually mean something. Yes, let's continue. The Spectre. What a name. Or rather, no one has names in this thing yet. Everything about this spectral figure seems dreamlike. He is a hazy silhouette who seems to be made of blue glass smoke. He wears a stylish, well-cut clothes. His handsome, bearded face seems hauntingly familiar, though you've never seen him before. He breathes a sigh of relief when he sees you. We weren't sure what would work. That would work. We pooled our strength and channeled it through me to reach you, to wake you up. He glances at the other figures and frowns unhappily. It took more out of them than we thought. The other reflections, they're more like shadows now. Look, I'll bet you've got a lot of questions. This whole place is basically your mind. Your body is still out there in the real world, healing from that fall. You need to get out there and finish the process. He shrugs. It shouldn't be too hard. Before I met you, it felt like something was hunting me. Do you know what it was? You said I had to finish the process. What do you mean by that? Yeah, I'm wondering about that process. After you wake up from this dream state and attune to the tides, you'll need to find something called the resonance chamber. Your body should have landed somewhere near it. Just climb inside that, and everything will be fine. Well, that's reassuring. What's the resonance chamber? Pretty good question here. I remember pieces about it, but not the whole. It's a crystal sarcophagus. I remember it having 5 mechanical arms around it, and a metal ring set in the floor. I think we were aiming for it when we fell. When you open your eyes in the real world, it should be nearby. Yeah, let's find out what that thing that was hunting me was. He closes his eyes. That's That's a memory I don't want to recall. Large, black, furious. It's our death. It's the sorrow. He closes his eyes. I hope it's lost interest in you. If it finds us, we're done for. Alright, yeah, who are you? That's a good one now. He pauses and looks down at himself, considering a long time before answering. I'm you. I'm a part of your mind. A splinter. I was waiting here for you. We called you, with the memories of the others who are here. I don't know what happened next. Who are these other people? That's what they are. As I said, it's your mind. You'll find reflections of people you knew, people you met in the real world, and with whom you shared some kind of psychic connection. I don't know how or why. It just happens. Why don't I remember any of this? It's your mind, a construct built to, I don't know, share thoughts, store your true self. Wait, you know how people say in the first place? This is definitely the first place of your memory. Well, it was the first place for me anyway. You'd probably know better, since it's yours. If you don't remember now, maybe it'll come to you later. He throws up his hands in frustration. I'm just a part of you. I look at you and I know. This place was made for you, for us, and I remember pieces of knowledge that come to me when you ask your questions, but that's all. Attuned to the tides. Tides are like a force, like gravity or magnetism or something, except they respond to people's actions and perceptions. Your body, that is, your body in the real world, needs the tides to survive. It's not something that you need to worry about. Your body will attune as it wakes up. So how do I get back to the real world? There's a portal down there. It'll take you back to your body. Just step through it, and the whole tides thing should take care of itself. He crosses his arms. When you wake up, find the resonance chamber and activate it. Then we can... What in the hell is that? Holy shit, what is that? It's the sorrow. It's anchored to those reflections. It's devouring their power. We have to get rid of them. Destroy its anchors or else the sorrow will erase us forever. Crisis initiated. Tutorial crisis. A crisis begins when you enter into a dangerous situation. Crises are turn-based encounters where you can fight, sneak, manipulate the environment, or talk your way out of trouble. Each turn you can take one action to attack or activate an ability. You can also make one move. Kill it, loosen the sorrow's anchor. Use to attack an enemy or move to a position. Try clicking the highlighted character below. Okay. Effort can be applied to attacks to increase your chance to hit. As with other tasks, each level of effort increases your chances by 20% at the cost of 1 point from the stat pool. Unarmed attacks use speed, but other weapons and abilities may use might or intellect. It's going to hide inside your mind. Get to the next one, alright? You can sacrifice your action for the turn to double move instead of attacking. The movement preview line turns purple when you're positioned that requires a double. When you went over a position. I use double move? Not sure if I actually double moved there. Okay. Yeah. Let's put a lot of effort into this. Fettles. Fettles are temporary conditions or status effects that can improve or reduce a character's stats. The Sorrow has just placed a fettle on the remaining reflection. You can't remove this fettle, but you may find a way to overcome it. Okay. Well, let's use maximum effort again. The armor stat reduces physical damage. The fettle the Sorrow placed on this character has boosted its armor by 10, meaning it will absorb 10 points of damage from each attack. This reflection's armor is now too high for you to overcome with your unarmed attack. Okay, I need to find a way to hit it even harder. Grab that piece of mirror glass. You might have enough residual energy to kill the reflection. Is the thing... Oh, it's there. Okay. Then click take all or double click the individual item you want. Left click on the item's icon in the bar above your portrait. Then click on the character you want to target. Okay. So there, right? Alright. You pried it loose. That thing is a cancer, an infection. It's unstoppable, but you stopped it. He holds his head in his hands. I can't believe it found us. In here. He looks at you, terror in his eyes. That thing, the Sorrow, it's been hunting you. It's what killed you in the first place. It'll keep hunting you until you activate the resonance chamber. I didn't remember until I saw it. But that's why the chamber is so important. You have to get back and activate the chamber before it's too late. The portal to your body is that shimmering dome there. Go, now! Alright, let's go find this chamber.
Where did he fall from? His body smashed to talc. It's a wonder he's still breathing.
All I saw was a corona, not his origin point. But look, he's healing already. Spontaneous regeneration.
What was that? What did you do, Calistique? I have no idea how to pronounce that name, by the way. His tone has become accusatory, suspicious. You open your eyes. The first thing you notice is this man's kaleidoscope of tattoos writhing across his forearms. He wears a long, dark coat, belted at the waist, supplies filling the pockets. His boots are worn and stained with years of travel. You blame me? He emitted an internal physiological reaction in response to the fall, probably related to that fantastic healing process. Obviously, Aligern. Her voice rolls and hisses, and you have to rub your eyes to be sure that you're not seeing double. Faint echoes of her actions trail from her, each nearly mimicking her. Though some act and react to the stimuli that you can't perceive, her vivid hair and outrageous clothing remain constant through these shadows. Oh yes, it's obvious, Calistique. His voice is grim and clipped. Then he sees you looking at him. You're no ordinary mortal, we know that much. Start talking. His face is hard and set. let's... Dominant tides have shifted. Silver tide raised a tiny amount. I wonder how these tides are going to affect me later, or if it's going to affect the world, or if it's going to affect my character. Aligarn, if you don't remember who I am, you're more self-centered than I ever imagined. You know he's not the changing god, Aligarn. It's his face. I've never seen any other people rebuild themselves like that. Only the changing god could have healed so quickly. He sighs and rubs his face, trying to regain composure. Maybe you could help me for a change. You know what this means to me. You're familiar with the word changing, Aligarn. It implies inconsistency. Thus, the changing god may well have changed. Several versions of her shrug, and she addresses you. You'll have to forgive him. He believes you're someone he once knew, even though it's painfully obvious that to anyone that you are newly born. Her most solid self curtsies while the others bow or spin. I, and my sisters, am Calistig, and this is Aligarn. We are explorers, knowledge seekers. That's how we come to be in this room. If I'm not mistaken, you are what we call a cast-off. The changing god created you, body and mind. Your sire used your body for a time, then abandoned it for reasons of his own. When his mind departed for a new experience, you were born in his cast-off shell. Where are we? What is this place? Who's the changing god? An excellent question. Having seen your regenerative abilities in action, I suspect they are primarily physical, a regrowth. If that's the case, you'd be unable to survive most variety of psychic or molecular decomposition, disintegration, conflagration, and so forth. Degenerative diseases could pose a problem, and I know of several entities capable of psychic destruction. As she speaks, a vision flashes into your mind. It's not yours, exactly. Somehow, you know this is a memory of the changing gods. You are in a dark room, lit by a myriad of blinking lights and holograms from the many machines surrounding you. What about a body that can withstand the sorrow's attacks, says a voice. It seems to be coming from one of the machines. No, you reply. The thing has no respect for barriers of any kind, physical, temporal, psychic. This is the only way. With a series of gestures, you bring up an image of crystalline pod. If the resonance chamber works, it will give us the power to stop the Sorrow's hunt once and for all. We just need the right focal point, a catalyst. The memory fades. Calistig is still talking. You realize that the device you saw in the memory is identical to the one behind you now. It looks just like the Spectre had described it. A transparent sarcophagus inside a crystalline dome, with mechanical arms arrayed around it on a metal ring. Unfortunately, the dome is shattered and the sarcophagus is cracked, and one of the arms is in pieces on the floor. Whatever its function, it clearly needs repair. Or flesh-eating viruses. One presumes disfigurement by the iron wind would likewise be devastating enough to... I think he gets the point, Calistig. I saw a vision of myself in another time and place just now. You didn't see it too? Nah, it's pretty obvious they didn't see it. I'm not gonna ask that. Know anything about the sorrow? Where are we? Yeah, where are we? That's a good question. A sanctum of your sire's. The common belief is he has several such places throughout the Ninth World, possibly other worlds as well. We were only just able to gain entry to this one because of your grand entrance. I saw a vision. No, it's the same one. Let's get more information about the sorrow. I've had my share of sorrows, but never the sorrow. What's that? A disease? Her mouth compresses in a tight line. I know nothing about it. I saw a vision of myself. Who is the changing god? Let's go. Huh. That's something coming from you. She gives him a sidelong glance. The changing god is your sire, dear. He discovered a path to immortality long ago, a means to transfer his self to a new body of his own creation. Excuse me. I don't think he knew, however, that when he abandoned one body, another mind was birthed to fill the void. Oh, he knew all right. He eyes you up and down coldly. The only thing the changing God cares about is himself. He doesn't give a single thought for those who he leaves behind. Dozens, hundreds, who can say? Your sire has been doing this for several centuries. Though if all of them were born the way you claim to have been, it's a wonder any of them survive. Why am I not dead? I used a cipher to slow your fall further, but the damage still would have killed an ordinary person. But think about it. If you're the kind of person who can make your own body into anything you want, what do? If you've constructed bodies for centuries, you want to make each one better than the last. You want to live forever. You're not going to let your life end by accident. No, you'll make strong bodies, fast, powerful, maybe throw in regeneration while you're at it. The changing God has always been vain. He rarely stays long in a shell that doesn't suit his self-image. She looks you up and down. Her smile is suddenly unnerving. Perhaps the changing God fled because he didn't want to wear those scars of yours. Oh yeah, I need to figure out what the tides are. I've heard that term before, a subject your sire studied in great depth. I'm afraid it isn't my field of inquiry. If the changing God abandoned my body, where is he now? That's a good question. If he abandoned your body, then his consciousness fled to another. He eyes you keenly. Oh, do stop. The look she gives Aligarn is equally piercing, amplified by the withering glares of her sisters. If there's one thing we know about the changing God, dear, it's that he always has a contingency. This child was born here. The object of your obsession will have been reborn somewhere else. What was the blast of energy when I woke up? As I was telling my colleague, it was obviously a physiological reaction of some kind. I've never witnessed the birth of a cast-off, but yes, it could very well have been caused by your nascent consciousness. Don't worry, I don't believe it caused any real harm, not to me at least. Really? You've been more abrasive than ever since we came in here. He shoots her a sidelong look. She just can't empathize with other people unless she's experimenting on them. As far as a cast-off. How can you be sure this body's a cast-off? You mean aside from your miraculous reformation? For one thing, there's your tattoo. All cast-offs have one, though its purpose is beyond me. And then of course there's your delicious naivety. He could be faking it. You don't live hundreds of years without learning to lie convincingly. She sighs in exasperation, then says to you, what do you think? Are you a newborn child, or are you a powerful immortal whom death has robbed of his memories? Aligarn crosses his arms and growls, fine, what do you think? He's non-committal, but it's clear that he doesn't believe you. Do you not remember sparking the endless battle? Do you not remember leading Saga's cliffs against Tabat, when they came to slaughter us centuries ago? His voice trembles a little, but he retains an iron control over his face. Do you truly not remember me? She laughs scornfully. Even if he were the changing God, you're not likely to trip him with simplistic questions like that. You should help him, guide him. One way or another, it's the wisest path. At least... Oh shit, I accidentally went to the next one. It's the wisest path. At least it's the way I think is best, Aligarn. Her smile drips venom. He looks away, and his composure slips a little. Gods, you're so rancid sometimes, Calistige. Of course, child. You must be so disoriented. Yeah, ask them about this vision. I saw you stare into space while Calliste graphically described all the ways you could die, but that's about it. He snorts. I only noticed because I did the same thing. Now let's ask about this Mind Palace thing. It is very Sherlock Holmes so far. With how hard you hit the ground, I'm surprised that's all you saw. Okay, so he doesn't have an answer for that. Okay, but why does he hate the changing god? The ghost of a smile touches his mouth, as if he's privy to a joke, but it doesn't reach his hard eyes. He's lived longer than anyone in the Ninth World, hasn't been much of a philanthropist in all that time. He's helped some people, sure, but it's always been in his own self-interest. He's gotten away with a load of schist over the years. Not sure what schist is. You know how to fix that crystal chamber? Yeah, that's a good question. Allegern chuckles, then firm and certain, he says. Not likely, though it might not be impossible. You need people with the appropriate knowledge. I'm sure the cult of the changing god will hold the answer. Her distaste is evident in the expressions of her echoes, although the face of the one in the lead remains carefully impassive. You turn to the insane to help a newborn. Where's your judgment, Allegern? I would take him to the Order of Truth. The Order of Truth? Are you mad? They would sooner take us apart. Alright. Let's bite. Knowledge seekers. The learned who try to wrest secrets from the hearts of the prior worlds. They gather in the city to exchange their findings and help humanity build a brighter future. She smiles brightly. Our friend Allegern here was once one of them. Frauds, quacksalvers, and charlatans. They don't have all the answers, and I'd not trust them with the changing god's secrets. You're just angry that they couldn't help you with yours. Her echoes tinkle laughter. But I am being too cruel, dear Allegern. Let us take our new friend to the Order. Okay, what's the cult of the changing god? Despite what she says, they're not insane. They're eccentrics. She laughs, but he soldiers on. They're worshippers of you and your sire, the changing god. They devote their lives to understanding your kind. Okay, so now I have the choice. Do I go to cultists that worship me, or scholars that don't know everything? Let's check out the cultists. Maybe I can like become head of the cult or something. A wise choice. Your worshippers aren't likely to cut you apart, and they're sometimes fools, but they collect knowledge and data. They'll tell you more than you care to know about whoever you are. They could give you a good counsel. She sniffs and gives Allegern an acid glare. Good counsel? The best counsel is to come with me. I'll accompany the two of you. When you change your mind, you'll need an introduction to the Order of Truth. Fine, we'll both go, but don't be surprised when Calliste leaves you broken in a ditch with your purse empty, while she laughs it off as a good experiment. Suspicious as always, Allegern. Child, the world is an exciting place, but is full of dangers. Rest assured, one of us will get you safely to where you need to be. I'll be right behind you. A sunny smile crosses her faces. I keep forgetting that there's multiple of her. What's in it for you? Yeah, that's a good question. I won't deny that you are an exciting find, but it's not about that. I just want to see you safely out of the reef. Okay, yeah, I don't buy that for a second. Kid, you're not safe here, and not just because you're new. Treasure hunters trawl the reef, scavengers who would sell you for parts if they knew where you came from, what you were. Alright then, let's go. Companions. You've gained your first companions. They will follow the last cast-off and can be controlled during a crisis. You can speak to them about their past and take advantage of their unique abilities and skills. Companions have their own motivations and personalities, and depending on the choices you make, they may not follow you forever. You will find more companions who can join you as you travel through the Ninth World. Take this opportunity to explore your surroundings. You may find items, equipment, and more to assist you. When you are ready, you can leave the broken dome using the stairs to the northeast.
Allow me.
So what if I want them to stay?
Yeah?
In this world, then. How may I guide you?
I can't actually move them. Maybe I can in...
Here we go then.
Okay, so I can't click the icon. Shin. Value 1. Encephalic rush. Alright. I'm guessing Shin is the currency then.
In this world, then.
Tiny glowing motes float through the interior of this tower. Each one is surrounded by much smaller motes, like thousands of worlds circling their suns.
Naturally.
The flexible tubes that are attached to this machine appear to be later additions. Someone cobbled the device together, but its function is unclear.
Of course.
Yeah, I don't think I can pick up much else here. So it's Q quick save.
You got it.
Is F5 quick save? Game saved, yes. F5 is quick save. That's good to know. 1 second. Alright, let's explore this world finally.
I need to talk to you.
Need to talk to me? Like, we just talked all that time.
This is the reef of fallen worlds, kid. It's a dangerous place at the best of times. And with you lighting up the sky as you fell, well, we should get out of here as soon as possible.
I wasn't, he growls. Don't be so paranoid. But when she isn't looking, he raises his eyebrows at you knowingly. Well, what makes the reef so dangerous? Well, they said it's like treasure hunters and shit. Yeah, if we should get out of here fast, it's not the time to ask for tattoos. What do you think we should do next? You want to fix that crystal chamber back there, yeah? First step is getting out of this reef. Alright, then let's keep going. Can ask those other questions later. Okay. I'm not sure what these pink things are. They look something that should be in like the freaking beta.
Sure.
Two floating cones whirl and spin deliriously around each other, giggling like children being tickled. The air around them smells of sweet, burning leaves. These cones are giggling? Okay. Touch a cone as it passes. Tutorial effort. If you select a companion's portrait in the effort window, they can assist the last cast-off with some challenges. Your companion's stat pools are used instead of your own, and they may have different skills, abilities, and statistics that make the challenge easier. Companions cannot assist in a crisis and can only use their stats during their turn. Okay, let's try. Success. You managed to graze one of them with the tip of your finger. Rorn, a voice says, and your vision is stolen from you. A moon hangs over you, but it is not the one you recognize. It's black and in pearl-white sky. Thick, flat asteroids orbit it like petals in the wind. You feel questing tendrils at your ankle, and a hot wind on your face smells of scorched hair and grief. What does grief smell like? Your vision returns. The cones hang motionless for only a second before resuming their giggling dance. I mean, if they're giggling, they might be able to talk, so I might actually... Asking them might not be that stupid. The cones continue whirling and laughing like enraptured dancers, giving no signs that they heard you. Alright, so maybe it was too much to ask for. Watch them for patterns. The longer you stare at these artifacts, the more you're convinced that they turn faster when their spiraling paths cross each other. What are you for? The cones greet your question with a split second of hushed silence, followed by delighted peals of helpless giggling. Allegern. They aren't for anything. They're from one of the worlds before this one. Allegern rubs a hand along his stubbled jaw. Sometimes the Numenera will do something useful. Sometimes they'll turn you inside out. And sometimes they don't do a damn thing that makes sense. I've often said the same thing about you, darling, Calistique murmurs. Try speaking to the cones again. I'll leave the cones alone. Gotta get in the habit of saving all the time. Okay, well that's a very sci-fi bridge.
Done.
Okay. Although this cube hovers in the air, you can feel the ground shudder with its vibration. I feel like this probably has something to do with all these like tech bridges and walls being powered. Looks like we're gonna have our first encounter. Koro, finally, someone, another one with a name. As you step onto what looks like the back of the enormous construct, 4 strangers approach you. In the lead is a wiry man with parallel scars running from cheek to collarbone on the right and left side. God, I can't read right now. From cheek to collarbone on the left side of his face. He gives you a welcoming smile, pulling on the gray gloves embedded with pulsing lights. He's about to say something to you when he notices Calistique. Cal, I thought you'd sworn off trawling the reef. Found anything tasty? His eyes travel up and down both you and Allegern. Odds and ends, Koro. Nothing much that would interest you, I'm sure. Her words are calm, but she has gone quite still. Yeah, let them talk. I don't know enough about the situation to interrupt yet. His hand curls into a fist at his side. I was wondering, specifically, if you had seen a falling star that landed here not long ago. I've seen nothing of the sort, dear Koro. Her lips close thinly. What about your friends? He turns to you. I know most of the draft that scavenges the reef these days. It's a rare pleasure to see a new face. Yeah, let's not admit to a treasure hunter looking for treasure that I am the treasure he's looking for. Yep, let's go max in this. Koro, success. Koro studies you for a moment before sighing. Alright, he says. Well, do let us know if you spot anything of interest. I'd like to say we'd pay for the privilege, but if we were rich, we wouldn't be down here, would we? Nice thinking, kid. That would have been a fiasco. You figured out why they were here, right? They saw me fall from the sky and came to investigate. Yep. Oh, sure. and they just had that ambush ready to go at the same time as we were leaving. No, kid. Calistique sold us out. Excuse me? Are you suggesting I had something to do with Koro's plans? Are you suggesting you didn't? An old friend of yours just happens to be waiting for us, armed and outnumbering us, as we return from the greatest find the reef has seen in years? It's too convenient for me. Too convenient by far. Of all the idiotic, paranoid delusions, you really believe this, don't you? You really believe I'd use a half-wit like Koro to stab you in the back rather than do it myself? You see, kid, she'll stab you in the back, first chance she gets, most likely in your sleep. He throws up a hand, forestalling Calistique's retort. Look, I don't care. Fact is, I can't trust you anymore, and I wonder why I ever did. This is the last we travel together. I've got enough to worry about without having to watch my back 28 hours a day. He turns to you. You coming, kid, or what? Allegern, I don't really think she's trying to betray us. Calistique, it was a little convenient. Yeah, I mean, I'm taking this option because it's a little bit incredulous that they fall apart this easily. Oh, this is just the last needle that crushed the Anine. You haven't seen 1/10 of her depths, not 1/20th. She is a backstabbing bitch, and this mess here only proves it. Always a paragon of class, Allegern. If I did have any interest in betraying you, do you really think I would need Koro's help? Yet this is the thanks I get for coddling your pain-rattled, judgmental weakness for so long. I've had enough. She turns to you. Child, I am happy to guide you, but I will not walk another step with this paranoid buffoon. Finally, something we agree on, he growls. Kid, she'll chop off your head and spit down your throat. I'll get you where you need to go, and let you sleep at night to boot. It's up to you. So Allegern or Calistique? So one of them, or neither of them. I mean, I'm guessing they can't work it out, but I'll try. She bursts out laughing. My dear boy, we have been working it out. Allegern's petulance, his obstinacy in the face of fact, drive me away every day. He might be strong, but he's also thick. I dare you to try traveling with him, and see how long you endure. Not as long as I have, I'll wager. His face darkens under her accusations, but he manages a pained smile. As if you're doing me a favor by staying with me. Do you think I don't see your true self in all those echoes around you? That's you, Calistique. Every facet of it. Facet of it. Your vivisectionist's heart hasn't changed. Just the way you present it. I thought I could help you, but... Your vivisectionist's heart. God damn. Is it true that she performs vivisections? Because in that case, yeah, I wouldn't trust her either. You know what? Just because of him calling her a vivisectionist, I will go with him, because I don't want nothing to do with vivisection.
As you wish. Should you change your mind, I'll be at the order of truth. But don't bring the complainer. A farewell to you, child, and best of luck. You'll need it.
Allegern. And good riddance, he gestures towards the stairs. There, come on. Whatever answers exists are up there.
Doing it now.
Oh, I can interact with this. There is a shallow depression in the surface here, like many others scattered around the construct. Unlike the others, energy still pulses across this one at random intervals. A slight yet implacable sense of unease emanates with each wave of energy. There is a loose lens at the center of the depression. You think you could redirect a psychic effect somewhere more useful, but it'll be tricky to get to it in between energy pulses. There's a loose lens. Is that a is that a typo there actually? First one I've seen. Without any antagonist to aim it towards, the device doesn't serve any obvious purpose. Oh, okay, so that could have been used in the fight then. Cobalt petals fold over a short metal stem. Calcified minerals holds the ancient weapons. Okay.
Yes.
Whatever. Let's get moving. Leave area. Alright. Let's get you to the Cult of the Changing God. They're encamped by the clock in the Great Square here. Alright.
You got it.
It's a colorful dude. Tibir, and he's named too.
Fine.
Oh, I had to sneeze one second. And I'm back. Okay, people having names are
Yes.
a dead center, show for importance. So let's talk to him. Tibir, pacing the edges of the crowd, is a paunchy old soldier with a swaggering stride. At the moment, however, his jauntiness seems overshadowed by worry, and he alternates between watching the execution and searching the crowd as if looking for a miracle. Then his eyes light on you.
I say, you look like someone who believes in justice. How'd you like to help a poor soul wrongfully condemned?
What kind of help do you need? I don't need anything, but my friend there on the platform is dying. The nightmares his executioners have induced in him spill from him with every word he speaks, and wrap around him like a snake. He glances at the execution. I know there are but few strands around him now, but in a few days' time, they'll choke the life out of him. I cannot imagine a more horrible way to die. He pauses. Well, that's not true. I have an imagination that would shame a sailor. He leans in. You'll need to be swift and willing to hold justice above law, but there is a way to save him, if you will hear me out. Yeah, why is he being executed? That's a good question. A misunderstanding, he says, waving a dismissive hand. Riss and I were hired to deliver some expensive brandy to an out-of-town buyer. He breathes a sigh, weighted with disgust and regret. Would you believe that the bottles were stuffed with state secrets? Riss was accused of selling information to the enemies of Saga's Cliffs. They called him a traitor. It was a travesty, he growls, his eyes blazing with righteous fury. The poor lad had no idea what was in there. But you did, right? Well, he says, studying the air over your shoulder. There's a place for talking about what I know and what I don't. This isn't that place. He clears his throat. Okay, yeah, if you were part of the scheme, why aren't you up there with him? Luck, he says, shrugging. I was taking a piss when they came for him. Went through the back window and scampered up the roof. He shakes his head. I watched poor Riss being led away from my hiding spot. Swore I'd get him free. I hope it's a promise I can keep. Alright, what's your plan? A simple one, but it requires nerve. Listen. He lowers his voice. It would be nothing for someone of your noble demeanor to masquerade as a city official and ask the council clerk for an archived copy of an old stay of execution. Once you have it, I'll write out a fresh one and add Riss's name. Then we'll present it to the overseer here, and poor Riss will be set free. He spreads his hands. There you have it. A foolproof, risk-free plan. This sounds like an extremely risky plan. Yeah, it does. Council clerk would... Yeah, it sounds risky, I'll tell him that. Nonsense, he says, waving a hand. It couldn't be simpler. Just be calm, confident, and wear a winning smile. He gives you a winning smile. Where do I find this clerk? He'd be in the government square, of course. There's a podium outside the council tower. I can't think of a time he wasn't there. You know what? I will help him, because I kind of want to see if I can do this. Excellent. Then you will need a proper story and a badge for office, or a badge of office. Fortunately, I have the first, and you can buy the second from Sangolin, the clothing merchant in the government square. He folds his arms. Once you have the badge of office, you will tell the council clerk you are from the Judicial Oversight Committee, looking into corruption in the commutation of capital sentences. The stay you're asking for is that of a notorious gangster named Cole Carden, who was mysteriously set free a few years ago. When you get Cole's stay of execution, I'll make a copy with Reese's name on it, and you can give it to the overseer who will free him. You see? Simple. He rubs his hands together. Now, if you'll let me join you, I'd be happy to show you around the city and help you with all of this. And whatever else you have going. What do you say? Yeah, let's pick up another companion. That's good. It will be my pleasure, but let's hurry. There's not a moment to lose. Riz hasn't much time. Quest received, stay of execution. Alright, so I need to find that merchant. Journal. It is still J. Yeah, okay. Main quest, secondary quest, stay of execution. From Sangolin in the government square. Alright. Alright, guess we're gonna have to look around a bit to see that square eventually. Wow, okay. This seems like it would fit in like a Las Vegas carnival or something. Changing God cultist. Alright, so cultist encampment. So this is the main quest I'm gonna be doing. But let's actually stay a bit with that and see if we can't save this guy being executed first. Gotta have priorities, you know. Where does this go? Let's see if we can't get a map here and choose where to go. No. Cliff's Edge.
Fine.
I have no idea if I'm running the right way to get to the government district. What's this building? The Fifth Eye Tavern.
Sure enough.
You know what? Let's look around a little bit more before we go into a tavern.
All right. You got it.
I'm not sure what the hell that is. Oh, look at those eggs, damn. I agree. That must be one giant bird. It's definitely steampunk inspired, but like I said before, I think it's more advanced than most steampunk technology, so maybe it doesn't really fit the category. Like that doesn't look steampunk at all. Caravanserai. Is there a way to get like a better view of all these different zones I'm entering and leaving?
Of course.
More
Why
changing god cultists, alright.
All right. My friend, Orthfong at the Order of Truth, was looking into something for me. I'd like to stop by there. Problem is, most of the priests and I don't get along too well. They might not want to talk to me.
Why won't they want to talk to you? Like I said, we don't get along. Probably because I called them out on their timidity. They're bowing and scraping to the slave families. What else? Maybe they've forgotten. Okay. I am gonna do that for you, but I still wanna find the government district first, and this is the government square.
Let's do it.
Why are you guys staying there now? Oh, Sangolan, this is the guy we need to talk to. Sangolan. A tall, thin, and exquisitely dressed older man stands in the shade of an exquisitely crafted stall. The cut, color, and quality of his clothes are a symphony of harmonious coordination, while the expression of benevolent condescension he gives you would be more at home on the face of a king. Good afternoon, he says, bowing slightly. I am Sangolan, and this is my store, Sangolan's Fittings. Welcome. How may I be of service? I'd like to see what you have to sell. I have 10. Most of these things cost 10 or 20. Well, that's not any of the things we need, right? What do you sell here? I sell the finest city wear for discerning men and women, as well as quality armor for those traveling to less civilized locales. He clears his throat and directs your attention to a well-dressed mannequin wearing the badge of a city official. Also, it is our honor to have been chosen to provide the City of Saga's Cliffs with the official badges worn by all properly credentialed city employees. You may trust in their trust in us. Can I buy an official city badge? He's probably not gonna let me do that. Ooh, I would very much like to try and steal that badge. And I have a lot of speed left, which I think is the effort I'm gonna need. So let's try this. Yes, come on, come on, come on. Oh yes. Seeing what you're up to, Tibir distracts Sangolan by asking him about a beautiful waistcoat. While they are both turned away from you, you pluck the badge off the mannequin. Sangolan turns back to you just as you hide it. He suspects nothing. Is that all for today? Can I interest you in our fine collection of armor, perhaps? Nope, farewell. Please do come again. Why are you guys over there? Yeah.
What do you need?
Alright, so we've completed the first part of that quest. Let's save here. Where are the priests that guy needed to speak to? Order of Truth. Alright. Alright, Algern, we'll go in and speak to these guys for you. Snurf. What a fucking name. Oh, and there's fucking Koro. What the hell? What was the name of the dude that he wanted to talk to? It's not here. Okay. Let's just talk to people then, I guess. Snurf. Slouched before you is a figure clad in a dusty, unremarkable robe. Loose folds of rough cloth shift to reveal a vaguely humanoid form with elongated facial features and two elaborate biomechanical arms. You can't help but notice the size, the shape, and even the number of its digits changing as it tinkers with the bizarre-looking device on the table. It glances up at you. Its eyes are the size of your palms. You realize it's a visitant, a being from another world. Greetings, fellow sentient, it says, nodding with studied respect. I will be with you in a moment. Its mechanical fingers contract and dance independently over the surface of the device before it, adjusting and tightening. There. I am Snurf, guest of the Order of Truth. What brings you to my workspace? Well, it's not that guy I need to talk to, obviously.
Gladly.
Let's just go up here then. Guy in the middle of the room should be it. This priest is tall, thin, and dressed only in black. Narrow slashes of oil decorate his unlined skin like letters in an unknown tongue. His eyes are harried, but alive with intelligent humor. They land on you with a tiny flicker of recognition. Then his gaze moves from you to Allegern and hardens. Oh good, he says. No one's shouted at me for hours. I already said everything I need to, Allegern says, folding his arms. Anything else would be a waste of breath. You're looking at Min of Tan Liang, head puppet of the Order of Truth, Allegern says, jerking his head at Min. More interested in where the next shin is coming from than, say, doing any actual research. This may shock you, Min says, and it shouldn't, because we've had this talk before, but research into the Numenera takes time. Orph needs a quiet place to work. He needs food and a bed, and none of this is free. Min sweeps a hand through his dark hair. Like it or not, and I know you don't, the slave families demand cooperation for their shins. If we don't maintain the levy network, if we don't play their games, that funding goes away, and so does the Order of Truth. Min ignores Allegern's snort of approval and turns to you. Maybe, he says, rubbing his forehead, smearing the grease stains there. You know, I used to have time for my own work. It wasn't always. He waves his hands vaguely. Politics and dinners and polite requests. He gives Allegern a sharp look. We'll find the answers you're waiting for. I'm not asking for gratitude. I'm asking for patience. And with that, he turns his full attention to you. Indigo tide raised a tiny amount. Like, yeah, I still don't know what the raising of these tides means for me. I recognize you, he says. It's been 10 years? I don't think we ever spoke. You were the one visiting Salimeri at the time, right? Working on some sort of organic machine technology. Yeah, I think we'll get more out of this guy if I just play along here. Huh. Well, welcome back, Min says, unaware of, or perhaps ignoring Allegern's muffled grumbling at your side. What brings you to the Order of Truth? Where is Orfang now? Looking into Allegern's problem, Min says, cocking his head at your companion. I think he mentioned leaving a note for you on his work table in case you stopped by, but he was in a hurry. Alright. Which one is his work table then?
On my way.
Might be this one. The desk is cluttered with scrawled notes, piles of paper and worn books. The owner was either extremely disorganized or left in a hurry. Allegren steps closer to the desk. He growls in frustration. This is where Orfong usually works. If he left a message for me, it must be here. Somewhere. Examine the papers and books. Yes. Before you have a chance to examine the mess, Allegren leans forward and plucks a folded note from the top of the pile. Orf is a paranoid bastard. He writes all his messages in code. Looks like this one is from me. He breaks the wax seal and scans the note. As he reads, his face grows tight with fury. Fong took my frame and left. He said it's not safe here. He wrote more, about my tattoos, and... He snaps his mouth shut. Never mind. He's not here. He glances toward Aeon priests. We can talk about it some other time. Alright, fair enough. Let's get back to staying the execution then. Alright. Let's look at our journal. Yes, acquire a city official's badge for second. Yes. Acquire an old stay of execution from the council clerk. Where was the council clerk? It was here by the podium, right?
Yes.
Pretty sure of that. Okay. Cipher. All right. So I don't think I need to equip the badge then, I guess. We'll find out.
It's a plan.
Behind the lectern, a four-eyed, hairless mutant processes paper with ballitic grace? Ballitic grace? I don't know. He's endlessly snapping the elegant fingers of his left hand, and each time the air twists and shimmers, either disgorging a document to be processed or accepting one that he's completed with his ink-stained right hand. One of his eyes regards a distinct object, portals that are opening, preambles and recitals that must be reviewed, his own addenda that must be flawless. One eye twitches in your direction. Exaggerated scorn twists his mouth, and though his eyes remains fixed on your face, he gives you no verbal acknowledgement. The closest he comes is a faint sigh. At last, after shunting half a dozen or more documents to some distant cubby, he condescends to speak. You must wait, of course, until council matters conclude. His corridor gaze leaves you. His face returns to its former equanimity, and he continues his work, which shows no evidence of slacking, let alone concluding. That my matters are more important enough to be worth more of your time. Let's try persuasion. Okay, cool. The clerk conveys his personal regard for the importance of your matters with a long, loud sigh, but he focuses one of his eyes on you and replies, very well, very well. Let us weigh the worth of your needs, shall we? What is it you want? Well, yeah, it's paperwork we need, right? A faint sigh is the only acknowledgement you receive. I'm a special liaison from the Judicial Oversight Committee. This is what the guy recommended, we say. So let's go with that. Oh, he has enough. Let's use his intelligence for this. I don't use my own. Success. The clerk hesitates for a moment, then shrugs. It happens that the letter was consigned to destruction by the year's end. Anyway, given the confirmation of Cardin's demise, with a snap of his fingers, a letter appears, and he looks it over. Yes, yes, here we are. Quite a criminal he was, and now slouched in treason. But who am I to question the clemency of our peerless council? He hands it to you with a slight sniff. Let me check it for errors, Tibir snaps with an angry look at the clerk. Of course, I shouldn't have to, but we wouldn't be here today if a mistake hadn't been made by someone in a position of authority. Yeah, why are we doing this here? Can't we do that later? Well, he murmurs, slapping the document on your back. I could commit fraud in a plush armchair behind the locked door. He leans over your shoulder, flashing a grin. But where's the fun in that? You feel him writing something on the document, presumably Reese's name, before slipping it into your pouch and giving a polite little cough to catch the council clerk's attention. Everything appears to be in order, he says, a mouth said in a stern line. I meant no offense, of course. Lost item, letter of pardon. I'm guessing Tibir took it then. The clerk turns a single angry eye Tibir's way. Of course I understand, he says, his voice shaking. The eye moves to you. Do we have any other matters to discuss? I am quite busy today. No, I think we're done here. Very well. The clerk gives no acknowledgement that he heard, and merely continues with his work. Alright, well, we should get to the executioner then. Oop. Isn't this the way I came in?
It's a plan. Yes.
That character is called the Genocide? Alright.
All right. On my way.
Oh, okay. Well, let's save before we do this. The overseer of the execution raises an eyebrow as you show him your badge of office. Yes, sir, he says. How can I help you? This man has a full pardon. Release him immediately. He looks over the stay of execution, paying close attention to the signature. Finally, he nods. This is all in order. One moment. He turns and calls the levies. Unmake the death of the condemned and set him free. He is pardoned. Yeen, the overseer. He turns back to you and nods. There you are, sir. All taken care of. As the levies march off and the crowd disperses, Riz steadies himself. not quite recovered from his ordeal. Finally, he raises his head and focuses on you. If you're the one who got me out of that nightmare, thank you. But where's that? His eyes settles on Tibir. There you are, you slippery bastard. Now where's the money? If I went through all of that hell for nothing, He chokes with emotion. A whole day, Tibir. I spilled my guts up here for a whole day. He steps back and spreading his hands. Yes, well, about the money. You see, Riz, I was hoping to get a reward for turning in the fellow who sold us that brandy without telling us about its secrets, but... But? Riz snarls. There's always a but when it comes to money, isn't there? I should have known. You only said you'd pay me so I wouldn't squeal on you, and you only saved my skin to save your own. He smacks his fists together. Now I'm going to have to fight through your friend to get... Now, am I going to have to fight through your friend to get to you, or are you going to step out from behind him and take it like a man? Yeah, I need to know how this happened from the beginning. Indigo tide raised by a moderate amount. Blue tide raised by a tiny amount. Still don't know what raising tides means. I guess I'll have to figure that out. Riz spits, then wipes his lips. There isn't much to tell. Captain Silvertongue here talked me into a dirty job, then disappeared like an abacus and left me holding the bag when it all went sour. Oh, Riz, says Tibir, can you blame me for running when I had the chance? You would have done the same, and besides, if I hadn't, we would have both been sentenced to die, with no one to free either of us. He stabs a finger in Tibir's face. You only wanted to free me because you knew you'd be the next one on the block once the Devourer ate me. How would the Devourer of Wrongs know that Tibir was involved? Yeah, that's true. The Dendra Uhur, says Riz, consumes our memories with our flesh. They know everything by the time they've finished eating us. And Tibir knew I'd have plenty of memories of him. Didn't you, you coward? As far as it goes, he would have learned about me if he had eaten Riz, and I did manage to escape the levies when they showed up looking for us. But I didn't abandon you, lad. He put his hand on his heart. Riz, I escaped the levies and saved you from the Devourer of Wrongs because I love you and I did not want to see you die. You have to believe me. Do I? Riz says, cracking his knuckles. Cultists who eat human flesh to gain the wisdom of the dead. Riz shivers. The city's been using them as post-mortem judges for years. He looks like he's seriously considering it, but then shakes his head. Not now, not alone. But I know a few others who the captain owes. Now that he's rich, we might make a party of it one night. Riz, you don't know what you're talking about. I never got paid, I promise you. This isn't over, you self-serving bastard. Riz jabs a finger into Tibir's face. Hide behind your friend if you like, but he won't keep you safe forever. You're dead, Tibir, you hear me? Dead. Alright. Intense. I think I'm going to take my first break here, actually. I will, it says stream over. I might actually continue this later tonight. We will find out. Thanks for watching, and I hope you tune in again.